Obviously, it changes by organization, but there's a few things that really stand out. One thing that kind of keeps coming up and over again is that employer brand still doesn't always have a seat at the table. So when they're thinking about strategic priorities, board level conversations, how senior leadership are driving impact, often still employer brand is siloed, and even outside of TA, leadership are not always seeing the value of people-led storytelling and the incredible impact it can have. And the reason I say it's not all organizations, because there are companies that are leading the charge. The thing now is, like, how long can some companies wait to not get on board with that? So, every year or every quarter or month that you don't have that shift is a missed opportunity.
And we know employee storytelling is a compounding tool for teams, and it is critical to business success. So you're right, the not starting, others pull further and further ahead of you where you fall further and further behind. Yeah, I totally agree. I think a big thing that's broken is the fear of perfection or chasing perfection before we start a journey. Just take a step, start, make those movements.
I've probably got to counter you to both of you gents. I've heard the same thing for years. I want a seat at the table. And my first reaction is, what table?
Yep.
When I think of seat at a table, I think of a C-level executive. And there's only a handful of them. And in a Fortune 500 company or company over 1,000 employees, there's 5 people who might be C-level executives. So 995 people out of 1,000 in that organization haven't got a seat at the table. Assuming you meant the highest seat in the table.
Yeah, but I would counter you again and say the chief people officer should very much care.
No, that would be one of the 5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the chief people officer isn't employer branding. The chief people officer is the chief people officer. So if I look at every person underneath that, I go, what is it that every other functional area actually aspires to be, that is recognized for what it does, is valued, is understood and well funded? Because I actually think that's what employer branding folks are trying to mean when they say, I want a seat at the table. I think they want those adjectives, and they're not saying I suddenly want to become the chief employer branding officer and the 6th person at the table. So if we start off as that as the first principle, I think, how do other organizations, how do other functional areas do it who do get that recognition? And I think that idea comes from the way that they get recognized is that they, especially if you're a shared function like IT, HR, who are all typical shared functional areas like employer branding, they are able to service the business, think about the business needs before the business even thinks about it, anticipates it, and shows that then has linkages up to the objectives of the C-level executives. And that's why I think this concept of what we're doing is having such resonance with organizations, because being able to have people-led storytelling as core infrastructure might be a component of what employer branding functions do, but it is the component that allows you to facilitate and have those conversations with all the other areas, service their needs, be highly visible. So the organizations who we work with who go down that path, they just naturally suddenly go, I'm talking to all the other functions. They're recognizing what we do. They see it as not a marketing problem, but as something that has direct impact to what they're doing in not just hiring, retaining, but keeping customers, retaining customers. And I think that's what all the other functional areas who have got this seat at the table, the adjectives they want, have recognized ages ago. We don't want to be C-level executives. We just want to figure out how to work with the other business areas as a shared function and be able to deliver meaningful work in a visible way.
Definitely. It's less seat at the table and representation at the table, right? You're right.
Yeah.
EB leads are unlikely to sit next to the CFO, the CEO, the CHRO.
And you don't need to.
No.
Like no other functional area goes, oh, actually, I'm actually the design officer.
Yes.
I suddenly should be the chief design officer sitting next to the CMO.
Yeah. It's a town hall then, isn't it? Like it's an all hands. Everyone in the organisation
Everyone
is at the
choose your,
different
put your hat
table,
in
right?
the ring
Yeah.
if you want to be a C-level
Yeah.
executive today.
Yeah.
You know, I think what it is about, I am, as design as a function is recognized in our business,
Yeah.
is validated, is funded. That's the kind of things that I think employer branding as a function want to do.
Yeah.
And I just think they go, what is the vehicle to do it?
Yeah.
And the organizations who are customers who jump along with what we're doing suddenly garner those benefits. I think that's the tailwinds that actually are driving a lot of our largest customer wins, how we make our customers look good. We just fit into a way that they've been trying for 20 years to understand what is the value of our function.
And I was just about to say, we support our customers in translating to speak the same language as the table, the magic table.
Yeah.
We go from an NPS score, a time to apply, things that, does that matter? Does that make a business more successful? Are you going to sell more, be more profitable? It helps us translate to the impact of what we do and the storytelling. So that's going to get you a seat at the table. Not banging the door harder, but actually speaking the language of the table and bringing that credible case to them will definitely have a flow through to the table, the magic table, whatever
magic
it might
table.
be.
The magic
the round
yes.
table, shall we call it?
I think employer branding functions should be focused on being well-funded, well-regarded, well understood, the same as all the other functions.
Yep.
And then after that, they go, cool, as we do that, we can then show linkages to the strategic objectives of the business.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that first layer and you just want to skip it and go all the way to the top of the penthouse,
Yeah. There's not a cheat
Yeah.
sheet that gets you there with credibility, right? It's like,
Yeah.
And we don't want to go half baked because it does us damage.
yeah.
Definitely.